I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I never know what I'm doing, but it's 11:47 on the 30th of December. So it's almost New Year's Eve. My phone says that I need to go to bed. It's already in sleep mode. But I was going through my books that I read this year and just like doing my yearly reflection thing. And I remembered that there was this tag, end of the year book tag by Destiny Sidwell that was going around on YouTube. And I was like, I actually want to do that tag. So that's what I'm doing. I pulled up the questions. There are 22 questions. I answered all of them. So let's just go through them. First question, most disappointing read of the year. One that comes to mind is Water Under the Bridge. It was a workplace romance and it was like rivals to lovers. And I remember I read this at the beginning of the year and I had like super high expectations, but for some reason I just didn't click with the book. But I would still recommend it. Then another book that was like a disappointing read for me was The Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez. The first 50% of the book, amazing. I was like, this is such a good book. And then suddenly it went like this and I was like, this is like another book that I'm reading. It can't be the same book. It turned very toxic and I wanted to DNF it, but because I was over halfway done, I was like, no, I'm gonna finish it. And I just didn't enjoy it. I mean, still read it. All of these books that I found disappointing, I'm not saying that you shouldn't read it, like try it out for yourself, but that just was not it for me. And then also a series that I was disappointed in was Kingdom of the Wicked series. The second book is Kingdom of the Cursed. I don't have the third book, but this I read after I read Dance of Thieves. I have a reading log of it and I was just, I don't know, after something that I didn't get from this series. There's a third one, I think it's Kingdom of the Feared. I'm still gonna read it, but yeah, I was expecting more. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting more. I would still like recommend these, but they just weren't for me. Underdog book of the year, I put Mine Would Be You by K. Jamila. This is another romance book that I don't really hear that many people talk about, but basically the main female character is very pessimistic and she doesn't really believe in love because she had a very bad experience. And then the main guy character is like such a golden retriever and like a sunshine in a human form, and he tries to prove her wrong. It's a cute romance and I don't really hear many people talking about it, so I highly recommend it. A book that was overhyped. I think this book still deserves the hype because it is the author's first book, I think, and she is in her early 20s, and that's These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling and it takes place in 1926 in Shanghai and it's politics heavy, but to me the politics were just a bit like too black and white. But the like storyline overall, I think it was good. I think I was expecting more romance that I didn't really get. I still think it's a good book. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I expected more, so in my opinion or in my eyes it's overhyped, but still want to read the second book, that's Our Violent Ends. Then we have favorite book couple of the year, and for that, easy. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. The main characters Iris and Roman. What's his name? Roman. Yeah, Iris and Roman. Oh my god. This has been my Roman Empire for the last like half year. Because I'm waiting for the second book, Ruthless Vows. That's actually, it's out in the US, it's not out in Europe yet, but yeah, like I think about these characters a lot. And then also another favorite couple of the year, of course, January and Augustus from Beach Read. When I watch you sleep, I feel overwhelmed that you exist. I think about them a lot. And then another couple that I really liked, the couple from Dance of Thieves, Kaji and Jace. They have my heart, because also this book is dual POV, which makes it even better. Favorite main character of the year, that is a very difficult one for me to answer, but I chose Poppy from People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, because I felt so seen and I felt like Emily Henry was in my brain. I don't know, I felt really called out while I was reading it and I really enjoyed it, and it was a 5-star read for me. Poppy from People We Meet on Vacation really stuck with me. She's not like my favorite character of all time, but I just felt really seen when I was reading this. Anyways, book that surprised you. I have 3 for that. First of all, I have Dance of Thieves, because this made me go down that fantasy romance rabbit hole, and I don't know why I was so surprised that I liked this book, because I've grown up on Harry Potter, I've grown up on Lord of the Rings, and now I really love fantasy romance. But yeah, I went into this not knowing anything and I was like hooked. And if you ask, have I read the second book, Vow of Thieves, yet? No, I have not. I've started it like 2-3 times. I read 3 chapters and then I put it down because I don't want to say goodbye to this world. So I'm just prolonging it. But I'm gonna actually read it soon. Then secondly, the Dark Verse series by Runix. It's dark romance and it's mafia and it's insane. Like, I started reading it because it was all over on my Twitter or like X feed, and it's like, okay, so what's this, like, let me just try this like dark romance thing. And oh, the plot, it's insane. I read the first 4 books. There's 5th one is out and then there's a 6th one coming. First 2 are about one couple, then the 3rd is about another couple, the 4th is about another couple, the 5th is about a 4th couple, and then the 6th one I think is all of their POVs. Runix said on her Instagram that it's gonna be a huge book. So I'm saving the 5th one so I could immediately read the 6th one after it. It was so surprising to me that I really enjoyed it, but like, I don't know what Runix puts in her books, but oh my god, it's insane. And then also I read the Chestnut Spring series, or the first 4 books. I haven't read the 5th one that came out in like October, and I had a really good time with it. It's cowboy romance and it's small town, and there are these like tropes that I usually don't enjoy. I went into this thinking like, oh, everyone's hyping it up, like probably not gonna like it, maybe it's not my cup of tea, this cowboy romance thing. But actually I had a very good time. So if you want to read something very easy and light, read the Chestnut Spring series, and I think I would recommend you to read it during summer months. Fave new author you discovered in 2023, and that for me would be Olivia Blake. I read One for My Enemy, and just the way she writes is so beautiful and like lyrical. I want to read her other books now. I want to read Alone With You in the Ether, and I want to read, there's one with death something. I don't know if I want to read Atlas 6 because I've heard mixed reviews, but her writing is just gorgeous and I want to read more of her books, and One for My Enemy was a 5-star read for me this year. Happiest read of the year for me, definitely beach read. I was in the States, I was traveling. I was in New Jersey when I started reading this. I stayed at the lake house and the timing was just impeccable. It's in my New York vlog. Like, you can see that I just had the best time ever reading this book. And yeah, it just makes me happy. And now I associate this book with New Jersey and this like lake house that I stayed at, and also New York where I finished this book. I annotated it, and every time I was in a new place, I wrote, for example, chapter 1, I wrote where I was. So Denville, 9th of June at 9:02 in the morning by the lake. So it's all in here where I was when I was reading it. An amazing book that I still think about. This year was an Emily Henry year for me. Moving on. Most frustrating book you read in 2023. That for me would be Homesick for Another World by Tessa Moshfegh. I read this in a vlog and oh my god, one of the reviews from New York Times, it's like watching someone grin with a mouthful of blood. So true. And I still think about these short stories and they make me mad. Like, I understand that it's like a Tessa Moshfegh writing style because I read My Year of Rest and Relaxation a few years ago. I want to reread this. It is one of my favorite books. But Homesick for Another World is like, this book made me mad, but this book I was so frustrated. The short stories in here are brilliant, but the whole reading experience in one word would be frustrating. So I put this as my most frustrating read of the year. Best adaptation of the year, I don't have an answer for this because I haven't really watched any of the film or TV show adaptations. Longest book you read this year, By a Thread by Lucy Score. It was like over 500 pages and it was so long, and I thought that it was just like a mid book. I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. I think it was like a 3-star book for me actually. It has 584 pages and it has, in my opinion, no business being that long. And I think that's why I gave it 2 stars, or like 2. I think I don't want to be mean, so I think I would give this 3 stars. But yeah, it was so long. Haven't picked up a Lucy Score book since because all of her books are so long, and it's just like romance. Give me a 300-page romance and I'm happy. Give me 400. That's already a stretch. 584 pages. Excuse me. Anyway, like, good for her. I think she's a good writer. It was very easy to read this book and it went very quickly, but it doesn't mean that it has to be 584 pages. Could have done it in like 400 pages. Anyways, yeah, that was the longest book I read. And then the shortest book I read was In a Grow by Ryunosuke Akutagawa. It's a Japanese short story that was first published in like 1922. It's 14 pages. And I still think about the like story because I'm not sure what happened, but basically the summary of the short story is that In a Grow is an early modernist short story consisting of 7 varying accounts of the murder of a samurai, Kanazawa no Takehira, whose corpse has been found in a bamboo forest near Kyoto. Each section simultaneously clarifies and obfuscates what the reader knows about the murder, eventually creating a complex and contradictory vision of events that bring into question humanity's ability or willingness to perceive and transmit objective truth. The story is often praised as being among the greatest in Japanese literature, so read it. Fave covers of the year, and this has 1 contender and 1 contender only, and that's the Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I don't actually know what the duology is called. Celestial Kingdom and duology. These covers, are you joking me? This is the US version. I don't really like the UK covers, but these, gorgeous. These books are so magical. I'm currently reading the second one. I wish I designed these covers because they're amazing. This duology, like, I'm 100 pages into the second one, but this duology is a 5-star duology. Like, read it if you like magical fantasy romance, and this is based on a Chinese legend of Chang'e. I don't know how to pronounce it. Read this. 5 stars. A book you haven't stopped thinking about. Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. It's in a reading log, and I read this in like February or March. I still think about this book. I think it's brilliant, and the plot is so ridiculous. Basically, there's this woman who is gay and she's constantly thinking about death, and she wants to go to therapy, but she accidentally ends up getting a job at the church because she can't like say no, and she's such a people pleaser, and she somehow gets wrapped up in a murder mystery. She's a murder suspect and so on. Anyway, it's like a very ridiculous, brilliant, amazing book that I still think about. Cringiest book you read this year? I don't really have an answer for this. I don't really like the word cringe for a book. Unpopular book you loved. I put The Fletcher by Beth O'Leary. A guy and a girl who share a flat, and one of them stays there during the day, the other one stays there during the night, and it's just their love story that I think is very cute, and I don't think many people talk about it. And then an unpopular book that I also loved is Last Summer in the City by Gianfranco Galigarchi, and this is an Italian literature that was first published in 1972, I want to say. It's a very, very sad book, and 1973, and I didn't think it would be a sad book. However, I was wrong. I was very wrong. I cried. It's good. Read it. I'm not saying that it's unpopular, but I think it should be more popular. Yeah. What was the highest and lowest rated books you read this year on Goodreads? Do you agree? The highest rated I checked are Fourth Wing. Where is Fourth Wing? I just had Fourth Wing, yeah. Our Fourth Wing, the average rating for this book is 4.62 stars. And I gave it 5 because I had a really good time reading this book. So I think I would agree that it deserves the hype. And then the second and third book that are like the most highly rated on Goodreads are Got Up and The Right Move by Liston Ford. It's part of the Windy City series. The second and third book, their average ratings are like 4.49 and 4.45. I gave them like 3.5 to like 4 stars, but like The Right Move is actually kind of good. Like now that I think about it, The Right Move, if your love language is like acts of service, that's the book for you. Got Up, it was a fun book. Yeah, I think I would agree. Like, they're good books. Like, they're not my 5-star books, but they're good romance books. Like, read them. Sports romance. I think they're like better sports romance than some that I've read. So yeah, the lowest rated books are, let's see. Oh my god, it's not loading, is it? Goodreads survey is down. So the lowest rated books on my Goodreads are How to Love Your Neighbor, which honestly I really did not like that romance book. It was a second book in a series. I almost DNF'd it. Then The Situationship by Taylor Your Rumble. Me and Ananya met the author. It's signed. And I didn't enjoy this book, but I just think that the marketing is wrong for this book. I feel like if they didn't market it as a romance book, I feel like I would have given it more than I gave. I gave it 3 stars, but it's her first book, and I think for it being a first book, it's a good book. And then Fault Line is also the lowest rated book, and I don't remember much of this book, but yeah. So, favorite quotes of the year. This was very hard for me. So, one quote that I really enjoyed was from Last Summer in the City, and it says, "Why do people always live as if life can be repeated?" Then also from Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. "If we discovered a dandelion on a planet beside Earth, that would be astounding. The fact that dandelions exist on our planet is therefore astounding." And I think it's such a beautiful quote. And then from Happy Hour, I wrote down 3. "Seeing someone you used to love is like visiting a house you once lived in. Everything about them is familiar yet strange. The greater the distance between you, the more unbelievable they seem." Like, excuse me? I've had a few friend breakups, let's say. This quote really resonates with me. And overall, Happy Hour is an amazing book if you want like good quotes. I read this book while I was in New York, so it's in the New York vlog. I underlined a lot and I gave it 5 stars. So, but one of the quotes that I still think about it is, I wrote it down here. It's, "Do people think life begins the moment you step off whatever plane or train brought you here? Like nothing of consequence ever happened before that. That's ridiculous." I love that quote. And then another one that I put is, "I was under the impression that I loved him simply because I never knew what he was thinking." A book with the most unique concept. Bombastic side-eye at this point at Sayaka Murata, because Earthlings. What the did I read? What the hell is this book about? I loved Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. I think it's a brilliant book. And I was like, let me read another book. Unique in this case, I don't think it's a positive word. It has cannibalism, it has incest, it has aliens. It was definitely a unique book. Did I have fun while reading it? I don't know. I think I was just like, what the hell am I reading the whole time I was reading it? Book you read that you would reread. I think definitely any Emily Henry book, because I already reread Beach Read this year, and it was the best decision ever. I read Cold Enough for Snow by Jessica. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Cold Enough for Snow by Jessica, and I think I would maybe reread this when I'm a bit older. Reading goal reflections and 2024 reading goal. My goal was to read 100 books. I read 101. I don't know how I managed it. Like the beginning of the year, all I did was read and go to school. In the second half, I got a job. I have a big girl job now, and I somehow still managed to read a lot, so I'm very happy with that. But next year I don't think I'm gonna put my reading goal as 100. Honestly, I blame Ananya for that 100 because she was in Estonia last New Year's Eve, and she was like, yeah, like put it to 100 because like I know you can do it, and like challenge yourself, because last year I read 90 books. So yeah, but next year I think I'm gonna put my goal to like 80 books because I'm also graduating university and stuff is happening. So yeah, and I also want to prioritize longer books and more fiction, not exactly romance. I want to read a few fantasy series, and I think the books I'm gonna read next year will be longer, and I know I don't really need escapism anymore, so I want to read some books that I put off this year because I was like, these are too sad. So I'm gonna aim lower next year. And after 2023 reading, what are you prioritizing in 2024 reading wise? I already told you I wanna dive into a few series. I wanna finish series, and I wanna read longer books. I wanna read more fiction that I have on my bookshelf and more of my physical TBR. Because this year it was just mainly romance. I'm not saying it's bad, like I enjoy romance. Oh, and also I want to read more non-fiction books. Like for example, I got just today it arrived Talk to Stranger by Matt Healy, the Yesterday Story. And then I have a few books about like startups and marketing and all that stuff that goes with my work, and I need to read some of them. And yeah, so anyways, I think that's it. I don't know when you're watching this, but hope you have an amazing 2024. Let me know what was your favorite and least favorite book maybe that you read in 2023. I would love to know. And see you hopefully soon. Hopefully in 2024. Bye!